Good morning. Thank you for joining us on a debate show. It is Saturday, September 27th. I have with me James Martin and Jack Hertz. We will be getting into our debate topics just a moment. How you fellas doing this morning?
It's a beautiful Saturday already.
It's a beautiful Saturday.
I'm doing just as good as I was right before the show when I said good morning to you, Brian. Just as well. I haven't gone downhill since.
You have to give your fans that. You know, you're a fan favorite, Jack. Come on, roll with it. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our first debate question. Who deserves to win the Most Valuable Player award, Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh? Jack?
My favorite player in the big leagues is Aaron Judge. You know, maybe he's my favorite athlete altogether at this point. I love the way he conducts himself. He seems to be a genuinely nice guy. He's a great captain, very supportive of his teammates. He's an absolutely terrific player. And maybe we're taking his great years for granted because he's having another phenomenal year. I mean, he's going to be the batting champion. He has over 50 homers again, and he leads the league in walks, which to me is a very important statistic. And he also leads the league in intent. I mean, he's broke the American League record, for intentional walks. So when they walk you intentionally, they're not giving you the chance to hit a home run. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. Think of, if we want to prorate it, those are a few extra homers he would have hit had they not intentionally walked him. In all likelihood, he would have hit him. And leading the league in walks means they pitched very carefully to him. And think of all the extra homers he could have hit that way. So if you want to compare his homer total to Cal Raleigh's, Judge is he hit another one last night. Is it 53 or 52? But
53.
53, and Cal Raleigh has 67 more. And Aaron Judge is a good right fielder. But with that said, it's not the best player award. It's the most valuable player award, meaning you got to tweak it. Again, if you're doing it strictly outstanding year, best individual year, maybe you give it to Aaron Judge. But because it's the most valuable player award and he's a catcher, I got to give it to Cal Raleigh. He's a good catcher on top of it. He's good defensively. The major league record for homers was 48, and this guy's got 60. He obliterated the record, didn't just break it. And last but not least, and no one mentions this at all, no one but me, because it's a most valuable player award, it's not over yet. We have a couple of days left in the season, and we have a right to still change who we think should be the MVP. I'm just talking about today with 2 games to go. The Mariners have won their division. They've won their division. The Yankees at this moment would be a wild card team unless they gain 1 game in the next 2 days. So Cal Raleigh's team is a division winner and Aaron Judge's isn't, as of this moment at least. And I think that counts for a little bit in who's the MVP. And Judge also missed a number of games. Was it his fault that he got injured? No, it's not his fault he got injured. But the bottom line, he didn't see the field for a certain amount of games. Catchers at a premium. That is an extra important position. You can turn Cal Raleigh into an outfield, I bet. If you work with him a whole year, he'll be able to hold his own in right field. Maybe not be a good right fielder, but not be a disaster. You could work with Aaron Judge behind the plate for a year. He's more likely to retire from baseball than to keep going if you forced him into that. As much as it bothers me to say it, and as much as Judge leads in all these fancy modern day statistical categories, WAR, this and that, I get all that. And I respect the argument if you're going to say Aaron Judge deserves it. But what Cal Raleigh is doing has never been done before in Major League Baseball. What Aaron Judge is doing has actually been done. Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds. It's sensational. Aaron Judge has been sensational, but Cal Raleigh has been truly historic. And as a Yankee fan, I'm actually giving him the slight edge of MVP.
Not bad. I mean, I like the argument. Cal Raleigh, again, if he wins MVP, he'll be the number 11th catcher, I think, in MLB history to win it. And there's only like a couple that have won multiple. I mean, obviously, people like Yogi Berra and Thurman Munson have won the award, and there's some other great names in there. And I'm not going to say that he shouldn't be in the running for it, but I'm going to say that Aaron Judge, you mentioned quite a few things here that should lean the award probably to Aaron Judge. I mean, he was injured, like you said, for X amount of time. Like what was it, around May, June, somewhere around that time he was injured. Yeah, and he was out, and he slumped too. Prior to the injury, I think he was slumping. But with that said, he turned it on, and his numbers are not that, like you said, not that far off. And him being a better player, I mean, we don't want to talk about history of the game as far as like what he's collectively done, but what has he done this season? What if let's just take it like this, put it this way: if these players are not on their respective teams, do these guys still move forward without their player? And I think that's what most valuable player means. What the best guy on their team, and if we take them off their team and maybe put them on the other team, what would they do with that particular player? I think Aaron Judge would be the better player and would still get. I mean, and you would see a drop off, a major drop off, if Aaron Judge was missing from the team. Don't get me wrong, Cal Raleigh is a great catcher, and he deserves everything he gets. I mean, 60 home runs is impressive for anybody. That's and considering we're not talking about the steroid era. I mean, this is a guy with a nickname called the Big Dumper. So it was just incredible to me. But I think Aaron Judge, if he were to be taken off that team, New York wouldn't be going anywhere. And I think that he should be considered the most valuable player just by a nudge. If Cal Riley wins this award, I'm not mad at it because he deserves it as well. These are both great players for their team respectively. Even if New York has not won their division yet, I just think that like you said, it gives more credence to how much more valuable Aaron Judge is to his team, and I would give him the award. But again, you're splitting hairs here. I mean, I look at their numbers. Great numbers on both parts, man. Great seasons for both, but I'm just gonna have to go with Aaron Judge.
So let me throw this at you. We still have 2 games to go, and the Major League home run record, according to some people, is Aaron Judge's 62 because they'll disregard Bonds, McGuire, Sosa for reasons we all know about. A lot of people feel 62 is the record held by Aaron Judge. What happens if Cal Raleigh hits a couple of more homers the next couple of games, which is a distinct possibility? He winds up with the same 62. I mean, he would have tied, let's say he gets up to 63. That's 3 homers in the next 2 games. And let's say Aaron Judge also hits 3 homers, matches it, whatever. Cal Raleigh would be considered a record holder to a lot of people for, a historic record. And as a catcher, that's kind of like absolutely unheard of. You don't expect that coming from a catcher. And he's a good defensive catcher on top of it. He's not this all hit, not much behind the plate. What would you say then, James, if the next couple of games something happened like that? And it could happen in reverse. Cal Raleigh could not hit a homer, and Aaron Judge could have hit 4 homers in the next 2 games, finish in a flurry, and the Yankees could win the division. That could tilt me. I'm just saying.
I would say, yeah. I would say that would tilt if either player show. I mean, now, mind you, if both players do what they're supposed to do and get what they're done, getting it done, I'm still going to give the nod to Aaron Judge. But if Cal Riley hits 2 more home runs, let's just say he hits 1 more, and he gets, I mean, he gets close to that record, or he ties it, or he gets 3 and
Well,
he
he's
passes
close
it.
now. He's 2 away now. He's close as is. If he hits 2
Right,
more.
exactly. I mean, if he gets 2, I would lean towards Cal. Yeah, I mean, it's too hard, and I think I'll be honest with you, because of what position he plays and how like you said, obliterating. I'm giving into the. I guess I'm kind of giving into the debate here. If I mean, he has already obliterated the record for homers in regards to his team and for catchers. I think the judges I mean, or the voters are probably going to lean towards him anyway, because just like you don't see this often. You don't see this often. I think he may get some favorable votes because of what type of player he is, and what position he plays, and
Well, I know.
what's coming out of it.
Oh, yeah, before Brian goes, I know the Yankee broadcaster Michael Kay mentioned, because we take Judge for granted because he's won 2 MVPs and he's doing what's expected of him. Is there Judge fatigue? Are the voters going to feel, he's not doing anything necessarily so special because he's done it a number of times before? So that could work against Judge. Could this work in his favor? He came in second place to Jose Altuve when the Astros had the sign stealing scandal. And I remember Cody Bellinger, who wasn't on the Yankees at the time, said Judge got cheated out of the MVP. He should have been the MVP because Altuve, in Houston cheated. Judge got deprived. Judge came in second that year. Would the voters think, maybe we're going to try to level the playing field? They're always intangibles, in other words.
I'm going to have to lean to what you said in the former, meaning that voter fatigue. I mean, you can look at any. Let's go NBA. LeBron James should have way more MVPs than he has now. Shaquille O'Neal should have more MVPs than he had. I mean, I think he should have won more just because of how dominant. I think it's voter fatigue. I think you're, like you said, optically, you are comfortable with seeing someone is dominant, and that you might miss and not realize that they're great, and so you give it to the next guy. And I think that can definitely work against Aaron Judge for sure.
Well, works in all sports. A Detroit guy, Emmanuel Stewart in boxing, once said, when he was an analyst on HBO for Fighter comparison rounds, if one fighter is dominating every round and then he wins a round legitimately closely, the judges might give it to the other guy because they're so used to the dominance and they compare it to other rounds. So they score it the opposite way.
I mean, Aaron Judge, this is a hard one. It's that, the Altuve thing, that was, circumstances. This, on the other hand, though, this is 2 good, great baseball players right now, playing at the height of their careers. You got to give it to Aaron Judge a little bit, just a little bit. And again, like James said, it's splitting hairs. So, I mean, it can go either way. Aaron Judge is hitting 330. He has 176 hits, 53 home runs. He's batted in 111 runs, 112 runs, I think. And he also leads in runs scored at 135. Cal, he's in 2 of these categories. That's home runs, he leads, and in runs batted in. Another thing that I looked at too was when Aaron went out in July, the Yankees went straight down. When he came back, they started moving back up again. They started off a little bit slow, but then they came back up, and Aaron was the reason why they basically got to where they're at in this position right now, in competing for the division title, even in a wild card. So I mean, looking at that, I don't know. Cal, I don't know if he's going to be. I mean, the Mariners have a very solid team. And I think that even if he missed a couple of games, I don't think that would take the Mariners out of any kind of contention. I think he's absolutely playing brilliant for his position. And he's not done that. There's not a catcher that's done that in a long time. So, I mean, again, splitting hairs. But if you want to say most valuable person on their team that helps their team get to where they need to go, that would be Aaron Judge. Because you see he missed games and the Yankees weren't the same without him. And then when he came back, they went back up again. So that's leadership to me. You know, it's like Tom Brady. He's not the absolute best quarterback statistically, but the dude's a leader. That's why he's the GOAT, because he's a leader. He'll take control of that situation. And I think that's the same thing with Aaron Judge, where Cal, he's playing extraordinary for his position. I don't know if that's going to make a difference as far as during the season if he missed a couple games and Seattle still won without him. You know what I'm saying? It's most valuable players. That's how I go by most valuable player, by whoever excels in their team and makes their team excel. And right now it would be Aaron Judge.
Well, as a Yankee fan, I hope Judge gets it. I'm going to be rooting for him to get it because it's kind of close. Right. But we're right, most valuable player. We've had situations where Mike Trout and Alex Rodriguez have gotten the MVP on last place teams. And to me, that's absurd. You could finish in last place without him. You don't need him there. I tried to make an argument for everything. If you're going to tell me they put in 10,000 people, an extra 10,000 people for every game, they showed up because of them, then I can justify them getting MVPs, Rodriguez and Trout, because I could say the money is going to go into the farm system and this and that, and it'll help the organization. But people lose sight of it. Again, you know, it's not best player, it's most valuable player. And you make a good point, Brian. But when the Yankees started winning, when Judge came back, he was off to a slow start. It wasn't so much because of him. But this race is really close. These next couple of games could actually sway voters. So I've never seen anything like it. And I hope Judge gets it, but I'm judging Raleigh's position a catcher. He's doing more making history than Judge is. I'm kind of looking at it from that perspective, even though you can make a very great case that Judge is actually having the better year and maybe has a tiny bit more value to the Yankees than Raleigh has to the Mariners.
Well, I mean,
yeah, I think the vote is probably could be. Go ahead.
The only thing I want to say about that one point that you made, Jack, is that he started off slow when he came back. It's not about that exactly. It's about him even coming back. When you bring your leader back into the house and he's there, he revitalizes everybody on that team. They say, "Oh, our leader is back. Let's go play some ball." That's what I'm saying.
So, and one last thing I was going to say, I think some voters will be swayed by not just by who's doing it and what position the player is doing it. And they'll be swayed because you're not going to see this almost never. I mean, 10 catchers have won MVP. So, in the history. So he'll be number 11 if he wins.
All right. Good luck to both players, by the way. They both deserve it, like it's a hair. All right, next debate question. Do you agree with the criticism heaped on by Russell Wilson by both Richard Sherman and Tony Gonzalez? And that criticism is suggesting that his prospects are diminished for the Hall of Fame due to his performance since leaving Seattle.
So to decipher both, I heard everything, and I heard Tony came first, and Tony had some good points. Tony had some really good points in regards to what your beginning of your career is like a boxer. Jack, obviously, a great boxer who fights too long, and goes, and diminishes, takes away from some of his career, or what people are probably saying about most of them, yes. Or maybe people are saying like LeBron James, he's played a long time, but now four championships is not looking all that great because of how long he's played. And the longer he plays, the smaller 4 begins to look versus 5, 6, and, like a shorter span like Kobe or Jordan, where they won 5 or 6 and they had a shorter career. I would say I understand where Tony is coming from. And And these guys sit on the panel where they have to do their job, but they also played the game. And you also look at someone like Tony to say it's easy for you to say when you're the wide receiver or the tight end, and you played a very long career and have never won a championship. It's just a lot to just throw that out there easily, and just say that and not analyze and look at from your own perspective. I think when you say things, yes, come out with it and say it, but have some sort of contrition and have some sort of just tact when you say it and put it out there, which he sort of did. So I don't have a problem with what he said. I think it's just a matter of maybe I should just question about. I don't know if I don't know. Maybe he was pretty emphatic with what he was saying about it, and to me, I was just like, okay, it's not disingenuous. It's just a little bit, and I'm not even hypocritical. It's just not looking at it from a full scope and full broad perspective. Perspective. And I would say Richard Sherman is the one that I definitely have an issue with. I have major issue with because he was a teammate, and there's clearly a dislike because some of the things that he said, not just that on that particular thing. He said some things before. He don't like Richard. I mean, he don't like Russell Wilson for whatever reason. Hey, it's fine, but don't come without facts. He said that after the Legion of Boom, he just fell off, which is totally, totally incorrect. And it's just like, I mean, if we pull out the facts, when the Legion of Boom left, he had 3 really good, close to MVP. He was considered MVP, where he had a 12-4 season, he had 11-5 season, a 10-6 season, and then after that, it just started to fall off. And so, and who knows? It's really all on him. But Russell Wilson played great during that time when there was no Richard Sherman, when there was no Brandon, Browner, and I forgot the other 2 guys. The four DBs that made up Legion of Cam Chancellor. Yes, for sure. But with that said, every great quarterback has a great defense. Every great quarterback has a really good defense. So what are you making it a big deal for? That to me, that sounds like sour grapes. There's some other issues that he and Russell probably will never make up with. And don't get me wrong. Again, Tony was right. He went to Denver. It didn't look good. He went to the Pittsburgh. It looked great for a while, but then it began to look bad. And now in New York, one good game, and he's been benched after 3 games for a rookie that's coming in, and who knows what's going to happen. And so, with that said, if Russell said he still has a good game to play, let him go and play. Again, he showed you that he can give you a really good game. So who knows and he's an older guy. Who knows if he can play the same way most guys can't play the same way they played, unless even LeBron looks different. So I would just say that to me, I don't think it was, I think the criticism was a little bit much, particularly from Richard Sherman. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Tony Gonzalez, I'm not sure where he's coming from. He's certainly entitled to his opinion. I think what Tony Gonzalez and Richard Sherman said were different. Tony Gonzalez, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't even infer that Russell Wilson's past success was because of Seattle's defense. I think that came from Richard Sherman. Am I correct? That
Correct.
came from Richard Sherman. So I kind of got the feeling that Tony Gonzalez is talking about Russell Wilson in his present tense, that he just doesn't have it anymore. Don't waste our time. You're not going to want to be a backup anymore. I can't envision you holding a clipboard. And he made it clear that Russell Wilson has no future as an NFL quarterback, in his opinion. So for Tony Gonzalez, it's a valid opinion. But the idea that he teamed up with Richard Sherman, even though his words were different, kind of threw me off a bit. We could twist things any way we want. And you made a point. If I want to play devil's advocate and I want to twist things, I could say, well, how many Super Bowls have you gone to, Tony? You never went to a Super Bowl. You're supposed to be the greatest tight end of all time. And he went to one Super Bowl when they lost to the Falcons. I mean, the Patriots that game.
Right.
And I could say that was the biggest choke ever. Where were you when they needed a first down? You were nowhere to be found. That would be a cheap shot. I'm just playing devil's advocate now because I think Tony Gonzalez was a great player, and he's a classy individual as well. It just came off wrong, him teaming up with Richard Sherman. But let's get this straight about Russell Wilson. He's been an elitist. I think that's how his teammates look at him. You want quarterbacks to be close to players. And apparently he wasn't close to the guys on Seattle. It was like he showed up to work. And I'm sure you guys have worked with people on your jobs, companies, or whatever. Some people are very friendly. Some people are very business-like. I mean, they'll do their job, they'll talk to you, but there's that distance over there. And when you're in team sports, it's got to be more than business. You want a camaraderie. You want to at least like one another. If you're going to battle with someone, you all want to win. But sometimes
It doesn't always work out like that. I mean, look at Brett Favre. He had his own locker room, separate from the whole team. And they still love the guy. I'm just saying, it on the field.
It depends on situations. I get all that, but
and also I think part of his religion. I think part of his religion. He wears his religion on his sleeve, and a lot of guys probably don't sit right with that, and he don't go out with the team. You don't go out and do certain things. So part of it has got to be that he's separate. Because he believes what he believes, and people think he might be, because I've heard some guys. I heard like Marshawn Lynch say, he wouldn't come out with this, that kind of stuff, and just I think some guys resent that. I think they resent not the
point. You make a great point. Let me mention just something you said about him. Jameis Winston on the Giants, he posted something about him, Jackson Dodd, and Tommy DeVito going out, the three amigos. Where was Russell Wilson in the group? Even though Russell Wilson maybe was friendly with them and all, that extra closeness wasn't there. But with Richard Sherman is how do I describe him? He's a big mouth. He's always had a big mouth. He's always had the mouth that roared. And what was said a while ago by Skip Bayless. He went on Skip Bayless's show on First Take when Skip Bayless did it with Stephen A. And he told Skip Bayless off. And I have no use for Skip Bayless. Don't get me wrong. I don't care for him. I mean, Stephen A. is all right to me. Skip Bayless, I kind of doesn't have too much credibility. But Sherman got insulted because Skip Bayless said Deion Sanders and Darrelle Revis are much better than him. And they are. Deion Sanders was much better player than Richard Sherman. Darrelle Revis was a better corner. And you can argue that Sherman thrived in that great Seattle defense. You can make that argument if you want. But Sherman's insulted by that. But now he's throwing that to Russell Wilson. What the heck does that defense have to do with Russell Wilson? Russell Wilson was the most hit quarterback when he was with Seattle. He was constantly getting hit all the time. And by the time he went to Denver, he was kind of on the downside of his career. But Mike Tomlin still had enough faith in him when he went to Pittsburgh to remember what he did and make him the starter over Justin Fields, even though Fields was playing fairly well when Wilson was out. And now Wilson goes to the Giants. And we knew once they drafted Jackson Dart, it was only a matter of time before they moved on from Wilson. And Wilson played 3 games for the Giants. He looked great against the Cowboys, sensational, and he looked bad in the other 2 games. In the present tense, I agree with Gonzalez. Wilson is done as a starter. I have a hard time envisioning him carrying a clipboard, but he might do that and hope he gets another opportunity the way Andy Dalton did it for the Panthers for a little while. The way Carson Wentz is getting at Minnesota. But, yeah, right, Danny. Sherman's got a big mouth. He's always, on and on. He might be a nice guy. I'm not judging him as a person. He might be a very good quality person, but he comes off the wrong way, to me at least.
I will say Richard Sherman was a great cornerback. I will give him that. But and everybody plays in the system. And don't get me wrong, he's an overachiever. He was a 5th-round draft pick, and he far out.
Second round. Sherman was a 2nd-round draft pick.
You sure about that? No.
Not
I
certain,
think he was 5th.
I believe he was a second.
I think he was a 5th because he played wide receiver first when he was at Stanford.
Brian will get that in.
Look it up, Brian. I think it's 5th.
I think he was 2nd. Yeah. Oh, you can keep talking, James. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say that Richard Sherman definitely is not better than Deion Sanders, nor is he better was at the level. But there was a time when he was elite. There was a time when he had his era when he was an elite cornerback and he was clutch. And we can all remember back when he tipped that ball for an interception. Yeah.
He was a 5th-round pick.
5th-round pick. Good one, James. Great steal for Seattle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he overachieved. He definitely overachieved.
Respect to him as a 5th-round pick to turn out to be, that good.
But at the same time, again, like you said, I agree. He was not a cornerback. Where the weakness, he could not follow. He stayed on one side. He never followed the best receiver. And I wanted to go back. I know Richard asked the question. I was going to answer.
Guy. Let's not get carried away. I don't want to call him a punk.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that. But
no.
In regards, Richard, if you're out there still, you asked about Russell Wilson being a Hall of Famer. Let's just put it this way. He has a Super Bowl. He's been to 2. He's played he's put up some great numbers. If Eli Manning gets into the Hall of Fame, he definitely deserves to be in.
Wait. Hold off 1 second. Manning won the 2 Super Bowls. Sherman won 1. This could be a deal breaker. That interception that he threw, in the 2nd Super Bowl, if that was his play call, instead of handing it off to Marshall Lynch, he never gets in the Super Bowl to me. If he called that pass play. That Malcolm Butler.
That's asinine to even say. So you're saying Magic Johnson, because he made the timeout, he don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame.
That play cost Seattle a Super Bowl. If you cost your team a Super Bowl and you're a fringe Hall of Famer as is,
it doesn't matter. No, I totally disagree with that. Come on, no.
If that was his game call, and I'm going to tell you, and I think a little about Pete Carroll, who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer because he won a Super Bowl and he had a good career at college, Pete Carroll, national championship as well. That probably pushes Pete Carroll over the top. But that play call, not handing it off to Marshall Lynch, what the heck were they doing?
No, I agree. I totally agree with that. And every viewer that was watching, thought Marshall Lynch was going to get the ball. That made total sense because no one could stop him he brought them down the whole way. So why wouldn't you give it to Marshawn Lynch? So to me, I almost questioned the game and thought it was rigged because that didn't make any sense. That didn't make no total sense at all. And so I just thought, wow, what happened here? And I saw the look on Richard Sherman's face when it happened, the interception. Of course, maybe that's the reason he holds a grudge against Russell Wilson, because maybe he made the call, but I'm not going to hold that against him into getting in the Hall of Fame, not with the other body of work that he's done.
Well, the head coach took responsibility for that play call because he was the one that said he sent it in. So that's irregardless of that whole situation. That was just a bad play call. And yeah, you running the ball as good as he was, as Marshawn was, man. I didn't get that call either. I was like, why would you pass in that situation? Marshawn's killing him. Just run him straight through the line. They ain't gonna get him. But for whatever reason, I thought they thought they're gonna throw him off, and it didn't work out that way. But Russell Wilson, to go back to Danny's comment or Richard's comment, I'm sorry, about him being in a Hall of Fame. The dude threw 46,913 yards, had 353 touchdowns for a completion rate of 64.6. He's a 10-time Pro Bowler. He's been in a Super Bowl. although I don't count that stuff really. He's a Walter Payton Man of the Year award winner. So I mean, the dude, he's a good guy. Whether his teammates can't get on, it's like people go to work sometimes, and that's what they do. They go there to work. They don't go there to socialize. They don't go there to make friends. They go there to work. And a lot of people think, well, that's just off-putting because you're a human being. You're supposed to interact with people. Well, some people don't have that mindset. They will go to work, and that's what they do. That's what they get paid for. And I think that's what Russell Wilson is about. He's about that. He's about getting that job done. He's about, he makes money for a certain reason. He's a quarterback. He's a leader out there on the field. He doesn't have to be the leader in the locker room. You got too many talking heads for that. Richard Sherman was probably one of those guys that was a leader in the locker room because, he's boisterous. But to say Russell Wilson Russell Wilson probably is declining. But he's been in the league for a long time. He's accomplished a lot of stuff. And you're right, for Gonzalez to make the comment, oh, well, he's this and that. Dude, you've been in a Super Bowl. You haven't won a Super Bowl. I mean, if we want to split hairs in the situation, you're a Hall of Famer, right? So why can't he be a Hall of Famer? And he won a Super Bowl. I mean, if we're going to go by Super Bowls now, now you're putting it all on in a different context. I don't believe, like Eli Manning. Do I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? Because he wasn't the greatest regular season. All his wins, all his notoriety came from beating Tom Brady in 2 Super Bowls. Was he a good regular season quarterback? So I don't care. I really can't consider him being a Hall of Famer either. But I mean, Russell Wilson has, proof is the pudding. He's also playing on defense. He plays on offense. So Richard Sherman out of pocket for that one. So whatever beef he and Russell Wilson got going on, he needs to squash that and just move on. Just keep it moving. But I think Russell Wilson doesn't deserve any of that. There's apparent things that he is declining. He is older. He doesn't have the gifts that a lot of quarterbacks his age that is still playing right now. So it's not, and he's lived a good NFL life. And can you see him starting on a better team? Yeah. The Giants aren't a good team. They have no good offensive line and overhyped defensive line. So, I mean, if you put him on a team like, say, the Lions, just to make it, offensive weapons all around him, good offensive line. He doesn't have to worry about stuff. So, I mean, it's all about where the quarterback is. That's how I look at it. Anything else? Okay. All right. Next question. Should Carmelo Anthony have his number retired by the New York Knicks? Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, there's been a little talk about it, and I hear about it, and I believe Carmelo maybe mentioned something or was asked about it. I don't see the Carmelo Anthony legacy as a New York Knick. I mean, he went into the Hall of Fame, and when he gave his speech, of course, he thanked the Denver Nuggets, but talked glowingly about the Knicks. And he played one more year with the Nuggets than he did with the Knicks. And I'm not looking to knock Carmelo Anthony. He won a national championship in college when he was with Syracuse. That's a great achievement. He was part of 3 Olympic gold medal winning teams. And that's not as big an achievement as winning a national championship in college because those teams are loaded, the United States teams with talent. But they still got to work hard and earn those victories. It's not like 1992 with the Dream Team that was so superior to the competition that they could have even had myself and James on that team, and subbed us for 2 more and they wouldn't have been hurt at all. That's how superior they were. But so the 3 Olympic gold medal teams Anthony was on, they had to work despite their talent. They were tough games and they got it done. So kudos to him. 3-time Olympic gold medalist, national champion in college, who played a big part in it, the best player on the Syracuse team. But in the NBA, he never went to a finals. let alone win, championship. He never came close to really, in reality, going to the finals. It's not like they just lost a heartbreaking seventh game in the conference finals to see who would go to the finals. And Carmelo Anthony didn't play defense when he was with Denver. He played a little more defensive when he was with the Knicks, but that wasn't his forte at all. I mean, he was a great scorer, a great player. He had a chip on his shoulder, which didn't always seem to be the best chip. It was kind of like an arrogance. Well, I'm better. I'm this. I'm that. After Jeremy Lin left the Knicks, he kind of tweeted something that could have been interpreted negatively towards Lin, which kind of showed you he had a little bit of jealousy there, Carmelo Anthony. But with that said, he was a great player. He was a great player. He just wasn't a great Knick. Now, had Amari Stoudemire not gotten injured during the time they were together, maybe things would have been different. We don't know. But the point is, it wasn't different. This isn't a situation like we had with Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing was the greatest Knick in team history. They never won a championship. They went to 7 games. Patrick Ewing's better than Carmelo Anthony. Different positions. He's better. If you want to play devil's advocate, you could say Carmelo was a little better at his position that Ewing was at his. You can maybe make that argument. I don't know. But the point is, don't compare him to Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing is a Knick icon. Knick fans like Carmelo Anthony on this day. If he walks into the Garden, he's going to be given a nice ovation. He's looked at favorably. Fine, he should be looked at favorably. But retiring numbers, guys, should be left only to players with iconic status for that franchise. Like in Miami, you retired Dwayne Wade's number. The Knicks have already retired too many numbers, like Dick Barnett. He was in their 2 championship teams, but he wasn't that great. So, no, absolutely, Carmelo Anthony's number shouldn't be retired. If that comes up in conversation, it should be shut down immediately without any discussion beyond what we're doing on this show.
So my question is it actually going to happen? Because I didn't see that anywhere. Is this?
There's been talk and whispers about it. It's come up from time to time. A big movement hasn't started, but now that he got inducted into the NBA's Hall of Fame, the Naismith Hall of Fame, there's some talk about, well, maybe the Knicks should retire his number because he played for them during a different era than Ewing. There's talk about it.
This is what I would say about Carmelo Anthony. Everything you said about Carmelo Anthony has been spot on. He doesn't play much defense, but he was a great champion in college as a freshman, won the national championship with Syracuse, Olympic gold medalist. And he's, all-star player, great shooter, one of the best shooters I've seen, very underrated in regards to being one of the top 10 shooters I've ever seen offensively. And he's a big, small forward, man. And, no, he actually played power forward. Did he play power? Was he a 4 or a 3?
They moved him around. He played power.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he pretty much.
But with that said, I guess the question probably should have been, had he played his whole career for New York, should they have retired his number? Because collectively, when you look at his career, it probably would have gotten retired. It just because of how great of a player he is, I think. And who knows if they wouldn't have built around him to where, he had a team to where they can contend. He came up in he was on the wrong side of the conference. The wrong side of the NBA, and during the wrong time with LeBron James. LeBron James is going to 8 finals, straight, with Cleveland and Miami. And so that was just, I don't care how strong his team would have been. You don't play defense, you don't get to the championship. And I think that's probably his not. But I think had he been, so I have to kind of change it here. Had he have been a Knick his whole career, I think they retire his number. But with the 7 seasons,
I agree. Had he been his whole career from start to end the Knicks, you have a compelling argument because he'd be an even bigger crowd favorite. They'd love him, even though he maybe wouldn't have gone to a finals. He would have had that extra longevity. He was a Knick for what, 8 years, and he was a
seven seasons. Yeah,
7 seasons, and a Denver Nugget for 8 seasons.
right. And so he collectively had like 10,186 points, and he averaged 24.7 points per game. And he went to 3 playoffs with the Knicks. But that was the pinnacle, the highlight of his career with them. And but the record it's terrible. It's like 196 to 216. And so under 500 there with them. And so, like you said, he could have had some better players, but I mean, we've seen if you're a great all-time great, you're finding ways to get it done, and also injury prone too. I mean, he's had some histories with injury as well. And so I think again, I'm just gonna say it that way. Had he been a Knick his whole career, they probably should consider retiring his number there. And I think, because you look collectively, obviously he got into the Hall of Fame. He would have been a great player there for them his whole career, but it didn't work out that way. So no, I have to agree with you. No.
Yeah, let's give some things to what he did contribute to the Knicks. He set the record for the Knicks for the most points in a single game. Scored 62 against the Bobcats in 2014. He has the highest single season scoring average in a modern age, averaging 28.7 for the Knicks. And he was the catalyst to their best record in a season, 47-20 under his leadership. Saying that, though, I'm agreeing with both of y'all. I don't think he should be in there. He hasn't done anything spectacular. He's a great player. He's already a Hall of Famer. He's already got his jersey retired by Syracuse. So, I mean, everything on that, just that shows you what kind of player he is. But to have his number retired by the Knicks, no, I don't think so. He didn't do anything spectacular for them. He didn't leave a legacy of a mark on their franchise. And that's what you want to see in anybody that you retire a jersey for. I have to agree with you guys. I wouldn't retire his jersey if I was the Knicks. Nope, wouldn't do it. I just couldn't. You guys make all the rest of the good valid points. There's just no way I was going to do it.
And it's only 7 seasons. That's another thing. If it was that short, you have to be spectacular. I mean, you have to be like someone like Terrell Davis with the Broncos. He had a short career, but the short career was just phenomenal. I've seen his career look better than some guys with longer careers. I mean, during that time, he was just spectacular. So that's what it would have to be for him, for me, to have one to get his number raised up. That would be it.
And the proof to that too. I mean, think about this: Sterling Sharp, who didn't play in the league that long, and he got his jersey retired by Green Bay, but he did contribute because he did go to a Super Bowl with that team. So, I mean, if you look at it in hindsight, and he contributed something to that team to make them a champion. So, yeah, I just feel I like Carmelo. I wish the Pistons didn't screw up and draft Dum and they drafted Carmelo instead. That would have been awesome, but that's not the way that the chips fall. And I love Carmelo. I used to get it when I was younger. I got his jersey and everything when he was playing for Denver. That is, I didn't do that with the Knicks, but he's an extraordinary player. Obviously, he's in the Hall of Fame for something. But
right,
all right. Next question: which NBA player is under the most pressure to have a big year? This is a good one. This upcoming season.
Look, I'll say I'll go first and keep it short. I know we only got 10 minutes here. Trae Young is an option, Luka Doncic, but I'm going to go with Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid is at the end of his leg, and no pun intended, because that leg is a pretty bum. I just think that he's had a lot. He's been dominant for a great time, and I just think that he's never gotten to a championship. And this is his last chance. I think this season, if he plays, is his last chance to try to get there. And I just don't think that's going to happen with Philadelphia. He probably should be traded somewhere if it hadn't. Why it hadn't happened, I don't know. Maybe he wants to be there, but with all the stuff going on, with all the talk, all the frustration on and off the court, it has to be Joel Embiid because you played all that time. You were very dominant. You had opportunities to get where they put players around you, and it just didn't happen. And so injury. I think injury just really derailed most of his career. As great as he is, as great as he was, that's what's going to happen. Hopefully, he's healthy enough to be able to play, and we don't do a lot of load management. I guess that's probably that's what we're thinking because it's going to happen. But with that said, I just think he has the most pressure on him to try to win.
I disagree. Joel Embiid is not under any more pressure than he's been in any other year because Joel Embiid commands all this power. The 76er organization, they're wary of Joel Embiid. They don't want to antagonize him because he is their franchise. He's their franchise player. As long as he stays healthy, he's a great player. He's going to perform at the highest level.
But Jack, that's a big if.
It's always a big if with anyone. But the point is, Joel Embiid, we know what he can do on the court. If he's healthy, he's clearly one of the best players in the NBA. He's proven it. He's proven it over a number of seasons. Certain players we know are great. They've proven it. The one player who hasn't proven he's a great NBA player is in your own backyard, Zion Williamson. He's the one under the most pressure. It's now basically do or die for Zion Williamson. You can't keep waiting on him. This is it. Joe Dumars, the Pelican GM, reportedly laid down the law to Zion. No more of this stuff. We expect you to stay healthy because we expect you to work hard. We expect you to be in shape, in great shape. We expect you to be motivated. One of the reasons Zion's gotten hurt reportedly is a lack of physical conditioning, a lack of motivation. And this is it. When Zion Williamson came out of college, he was considered to be a generational talent in the sense that he couldn't miss. He was going to be, at the very least, one of the best players at the NBA, at the very least, and at best, one of the greatest players of all time. And even Jalen Rose downplayed it at the time. He said, all Zion might be is a perennial all-star and nothing more than that. That was his rock bottom coming out of college. Perennial all-star. That wouldn't have been good enough to settle. He's just another all-star player, but not, the main guy in the league. So this is it. Zion in flashes has shown he could be great in small flashes. And if he stays healthy, this is it. I want to see him stay healthy, put it together. Zion, if he hits his peak, stays healthy and hits his peak, he could arguably be the best player in the NBA. It's possible. And this is it this year. Joe Dumars is instilling a new culture in the team. And if Zion doesn't adjust to that culture, it's never going to happen.
Look, I'm going to have to say I agree with most of what you said. Except the fact that if Zion Williamson doesn't do it this year, and let's just say for the sake of argument that he does get traded or he gets in somewhere else, he still has a part of his career where he can go and try to rewrite the ship. Joel Embiid is not really there. He's on almost, I hate to keep saying on his last leg. He's literally on his last leg. And he's old. I mean, I don't know if you can get it, Brian. I mean, he's got to be over 30.
Joel Embiid, yeah, he's been in the league for a while.
Yeah. And so he's closer towards the tail end. So there's going to be more pressure 31. In more ways. Yes, he's more pressure than, and for a big man, 31 and his size, that doesn't get better.
Say this right before Brian goes. Joel Embiid, if his career ended today, he's probably a Hall of Famer. He's looked at as he probably gets to the Hall of Fame. Zion Williamson, if his career continues the way it is, he's going to be looked at as an underachiever.
Thanks, Rich. But I'm going to tell you that Joel Embiid, though, not getting to a championship, not even getting to one, Jack, and that's a big deal because as someone at his caliber and he's played this long, he's at 31 with the injury history and with the frustration now that's coming off the court with the media and everything like that. That doesn't help you at all. So that's way more pressure on him. I think Zion at least has an opportunity to be able to right his ship if he like you just said there's big ifs about being healthy and there's big ifs with Zion Williamson about his conditioning. Is he motivated? We'll see. But I'm sticking with Joel Embiid for sure.
Yeah, actually, Jack stole my thunder on that whole situation. I think it is Zion Williamson. Dude's 25 years old, and he came in with a whole bunch of, accolades on his shoulders and to lead a team. He is a great player when he's on the court and he's healthy. This is the main thing and Joe Dumars is actually given that chance because they could have easily just said, you know what, I'll trade him and get picks for him or whatever the case may be. But he didn't. He stuck with him. He's trying to build a team around him. So, dude, you have to take the reins. And you got to condition yourself, be better conditioned so that you don't get hurt as much as you're getting hurt. I don't understand what's going on with Zion Williamson and his injuries, dude. That's
well, he is. I mean, look, he's 6'6". He's almost 300 pounds, and he moves like a gazelle. But that physically, that's not natural for somebody his size. So there's definitely going to be some soft tissue injuries because of how fast. And when you see him, he moves like somebody that's 6'6", 210. He can move, and he jumps like out through the roof. And so that's not sustainable for somebody his size. And so and also with conditioning, he lives in New Orleans, so I'm pretty sure he's eating gumbo out the wazoo. And so I'm not going to say that he needs his own. He needs nutritionists, and they need to curtail. He's got issues with that. They need to curtail him and make sure that you're strict and you're signing a contract. And what's in your contract is that you're going to be in good condition. I mean, Luka Doncic. You see him now; he looks totally different. They had to, in order to get that contract. I'm pretty sure they put some stipulations into that contract to say you got to be in good condition, man. You can't just be sitting around with beer, by the poolside and just chilling all day every day. You got to come and come with it. And so, but at the same time, you mentioned he's 25. I think age has a bigger difference with the pressure. He's going to definitely, let's just say he doesn't sustain with New Orleans. Somebody's going to take him because he'll be 26. Nobody's going to want Joel Embiid with all the issues and the age that he has and the injuries. The pressure's now. This is to win now. So you got to win now. And I'll leave it at that. I know we don't have much time.
Yeah, I just think and you hit the point ahead about Zion. He just needs to get better as far as body, so he doesn't get injured. He doesn't have soft tissue injuries. Those are things that he's got to work on. But the fact that he's given a chance in the first place by Joe Dumars to be on the team is telling me he's got faith in the guy. Get it done. Let's do this. So on that note, thank you guys for joining me, James and Jack, as we do every Saturday and debate. Everybody have a great day. Tomorrow, big football show, 8 a.m. to 10. Jack will be on there. James will be on there. I will be on there along with Keith. So join us for that tomorrow morning. Everybody have a good rest of your day.